Well, here at the Expo and here at the EVRC booth, we're always talking to people in the industry that are making the industry happen. They're on the front lines, they're behind the curtain sometimes, but they are making electrification happen in a variety of ways. That could be the manufacturers, it could be the infrastructure folks, it could be utilities, but oftentimes too, if it's EV advocacy groups, and those were basically the resource on a local level for letting people get information about EVs. And so, Rosemary Mascali, you are with Long Island Drive Electric. How are you doing? I haven't seen you in a year, but good to see you again. So, how's it been going?
It's been going great, really. I mean, a lot of headwinds this year, but we're already up 20% in EVs on the road on Long Island at the end of the third quarter. Considering all the changes that have been going on, we're happy with that.
Oh, is there something going on with changes? No, but I think what you're pointing to is again, the industry responds in a variety of ways. Consumer demand, the political winds, and that could be headwinds. For example, you could have a lot of support from the federal government, or as of right now, there's basically none. But at the end of the day, what I think the Expo is a good example of is you walk around, you see electrification is happening. Like that ship has left the dock. So what we're now seeing is that we have, as an industry, a lot that we have to do if we are, again, removing subsidies, removing incentives. We got to find a way to have a very practical conversation with people that want to know more. That's what the Expo event is about. But for Long Island Drive Electric, this is a weekend event in Long Island. But you are working year-round on Long Island to make a lot of these conversations easier for people. So I guess, where do you want to start? What have you guys been up to?
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about some of the events we've been doing. We started in 2018. At the time, there were 8,000 EVs on the road, and now there's 85,000. So that was an 800% increase in the last 7 years.
That is not bad.
We do a lot of EV 101s. We do it at libraries because Long Island is not monolithic. It's a community of communities, and every community has a library. So we have an event there. It's about a 45-minute presentation that goes through the basics of electric vehicles, the incentives, the myths. And we bring our volunteers, our EV owners that come with their cars, and people can kick the tires and what I like to say, Long Islanders talking to other Long Islanders about what it's like to drive an EV. We also do ride and drives, where we get people into the seats. So
it goes beyond this weekend here at Expo. I mean, a big part for you is this is a great way to let everybody who's local to know, by the way, this isn't just a flash in the pan. You can come and hang out with us throughout the year at various events.
Yeah, and we average about one a month in medium to large size employers, municipalities, and we work with the local dealers for them to bring cars to the ride and drive, and we set up a test course for them and test it out. The Expo is fabulous though, because you can get them all here. So we spend a lot of time encouraging people to come here, and then when they're here, getting them to get into the cars, because the best way to have people overcome any fears they have about electric vehicles is to drive the car.
Yeah, again, they begin to realize it is just a car. I mean, again, even as you were describing in our last conversation when you went car shopping and how that process worked for you, at the end of the day, people go through the same process for buying a car, whether it runs on gas or electricity, but it's about having the resources at your disposal to get those answers to those questions you have. And again, on the dealer front, there might be challenges there, but that's where, again, working with, again, organizations like Long Island Drive Electric, you can start to have that more communal conversation about what it means to get the answers you need.
Do you think there are any Long Island specific factors that you have in your conversations with potential EV drivers?
I think I know where you're going. Your favorite factoid. When you told me this number, I was blown away.
Yeah, very much so. I like to say that Drive Electric has a big factor in driving up EV adoption, but I quickly recognize it's Long Island. We have 82% single-family homes on Long Island. Contrast that to 16% single-family homes in New York City. We have 2.3 million cars on Long Island. So I like to say 2.3 times anything is a lot.
Yeah.
And we have 2.3 cars per household. So, if someone really has hung up about range, you just use your gas car if you're going to go on the long trip if you want to. We also have a compact geography. And 80% of Long Islanders live and work on Long Island. So the average mileage is about 40 miles a day. And with a single family home, you just plug in your car at night. And I have a small compact electric, so I actually charge with a 110 outlet.
You have a Kona, right?
Yeah. No,
but that's your point, is if you have a vehicle that has, again, a full charge on your Kona is, 260 miles of range or so?
Yeah, about 260.
And so, but you and your daily driving routine, you didn't have to upgrade your charger at home because, as you described, the geography of Long Island and your use case, it works on a day-to-day basis just by plugging into a wall outlet for that, again, that level 1 slow charge. But you have the range if you did want to go beyond Long Island.
Right.
I think the idea, again, all the geographic areas that are around the country, we have to answer these questions about how charging works for everybody. Long Island is such a unique way to showcase that it's almost like you have the opportunity to be like America's mini Norway in the way of like, hey, we've got this really perfect setup for everybody, basically. So how does that translate when you have those meetings and you have those library events and you have ride and drives? Are you still having those moments where people, they look at you and they go, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, like that's an aha still for people. They're like, I could just fill up at home all the time.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's most of the people you talk to. I mean, is it still happening that you have people say?
It's still happening.
Wow.
Still happening. People have the gas station model in their head about how you charge an EV. And the media contributes to that because every article you read is, a number of charging stations, the reliability of the charging stations, whatever. And yeah, that's important for if you're going to go on long trips. You go skiing every weekend, you need to know that you can charge. But I tell people, on Long Island, you're not going to do that because the most convenient and inexpensive way to charge, by far, is at home overnight.
So what is the price per kilowatt hour in Long Island right now, on average?
The average is 24 cents,
Okay.
but with PSEG, the overnight rates, they have a super off-peak rate for time of day is 40% off that. So it's like 14, 15 cents a kilowatt hour.
So yeah, at 15 cents for your electricity, if you're filling up, let's just say, for our sake of argument, that Tesla Model S right there, that's got about 100 kilowatt hour battery pack in it. So that's $15 to fill up to go over 400 miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you say that out loud, because there's still no marquees out there that say that if they're driving around, they don't see it. So is that when people keep having their aha moments, and is it really just about more exposure that people need to have, and events like Expo help, but that month-to-month effort you're making, you're still getting people to come in that just didn't know?
Yeah, and I think also we needed to have good price point vehicles, and that's what's coming out now. So the Equinox, the new Bolt, the Leaf, the Kona, that are in that 30,000, 40,000 mile range are important on Long Island.
Well, and so I mean that's an interesting too thing, because I think people think it's like, oh, it's Long Island, they've got a nice home, they've got a disposable income, whatever it might be. It's like there's a lot of people living on Long Island. It's like, yeah, I have a house, but I also just have a regular day job and I need my life to be normal.
And I pay 50% of my income for my house.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And the rest in taxes.
Well, no,
and the rest in taxes.
When you were shopping for your EV and you went through the process of going to different dealers and you finally landed on the brand that you wanted, what was that final tipping point for you as it relates to your lifestyle and living experience, as it relates to being in New York? Because again, you have an urban setting. That's different from what we're talking about, though. And there's going to be a lot of people that live on Long Island that know people like you, that they have to be able to have a conversation about the differences.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was, for me, it was being prepared to overcome the inconveniences of having an EV, or the sort of perceived inconvenience. And there are some, right? But when I live in the city, if you live in the city, you don't have home charging. It is easier not to have to worry about charging because gas. Although actually, filling your car up with gas in Manhattan's a nightmare.
I was going to say that even that's hard.
That's hassle too, right?
Yeah.
Owning a car is just a problem. So if you're getting a car, you're kind of prepared to overcome some of these things. So I don't think I'm particularly typical, but I was wondering as you were talking, what you were describing, is there a difference between like Nassau and Suffolk counties in terms of sort of people's willingness to engage in the sort of the EV conversation? Because Suffolk does seem a bit more rural and spread out. And
Nassau's got a higher rate of adoption than Suffolk. They both have good rates, but if you look at it on a population basis, Nassau's a little higher. They both have a high number of single occupancy vehicles. What am I saying?
Single occupancy homes, is that what you're going for?
Yes.
Like a Renault Twingo.
I said my voice is earlier when representing myself, and then I called other people by the name.
Well, we're doing a session with a guy with electric motorbikes, right?
Yes.
And that's a single occupancy vehicle.
Oh, there you go. That worked. So that still works.
Well, that was on top of mind because Newsday had a story about the HOV lane today.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
but to your point, and your question, but from Suffolk to Nassau, it is a combination of just, again, cultural in the county, and even just, the demographics are similar, but it's still about lifestyle. And so from the perspective of how people live in what county to county can still make a difference on where their comfort zone is, and also just how they're exposed to the right information.
Yeah, and I think you have maybe the North Shore of Long Island and Nassau County has a higher median income, so you have the luxury market there. That was stronger. A lot of Teslas on the North Shore.
That's like where Billy Joel lives, right?
He did. No, Billy Joel's out in East End.
Oh, is he? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say
There's a lot of them out there too in Southampton, East Hampton.
he's probably not thinking about like the problems the same way as others, you know.
Yeah.
So,
But you bring up a point that Long Island's a community of communities, and they're all different, and they all have personalities, and we try to tap into those. And you mentioned earlier the used market. We see that as a big opportunity for us to hit the lower price point, and also really important for us to be able to continue to show growth, because we measure EVs on the road, and if we start moving towards just the current EV owners trading in their cars and those used cars not being placed on Long Island, we won't see growth.
Right. Yeah, and that's going to be a challenge. We really hit on that too. Talking to Darren a minute ago, is just that the dealerships that are going to be getting some of these trade-ins in, they have to figure out how to turn those things back around. And the buying proposition of those vehicles, we're not going to have the used tax credit from the federal government anymore. But
Right.
these vehicles they'll have come down a lot in price.
Yeah,
So-
it's a good time now to sell a used EV.
Yeah, so there's attractiveness
because
to
the residual values are lower than the comparable for the gas car, so they're a great buy. You can get, for the same price point, you can get just a couple of year-old car that has a lot of the newer safety features than the same price point in a gas car.
Well, and
the same
these are
price.
things that people do naturally shop for. Is just the basic comfort elements around that. And so I think what we're going to end up seeing in the near term, especially on that price side, is that these cars that are coming off lease that are going to kind of flood the market now, is we're going to have a lot of efforts to help people that are shopping for a car understand what they can get themselves into, and also it's going to relate to working with the dealerships on a local level. So, and you've established a lot of those relationships over the last
And since
6 years.
last year, we started to now do dealer sales training for free.
Boy, do the dealers like that number.
Well, they like free, but I tell you, it's not a slam dunk to just have them come in. It's
You're inviting them to your events as opposed to going.
We go on site on the day of their choosing, morning or afternoon, 2-hour presentation.
The 2-hour thing is where they you got to bring lunch.
Yeah.
You bring lunch. If you give dealers free food, they will show up in droves.
Yeah. No, wait.
Come on, I'm not wrong.
The salesmen are coming though, but and we usually do like a Monday morning where they'll be in the dealership anyway, and there aren't too many customers. But if customers come in, they have to pop out, go take care of their customer.
Right. When you're on site with them, at the end of the day, they have a job to do while you're there trying to engage them. And this is one of the challenges too about even bringing them out for ride and drives away from events like Expo, is when they are away from the showroom and they're bringing vehicles. That for them is like, I got to close a sale if I'm here though. So for me, it's not a volunteer effort for them. They've got to have a lot of understanding that they can turn and convert that into actually making business happen.
Yeah, having those dealers come to the ride and drives though, we make converts of the salesmen.
I'm sure you do.
Because they see the excitement around it, they see others there, they start talking to each other, and so that's a subtle way of getting a little more buy-in on the dealer side too.
Yeah.
Do you think we need more, that New York State should be offering more support to kind of fill the gap since the federal incentives have gone away?
You know, we do have the clean drive rebate that's up to $2,000. It's capped at $500 for MSRP over $42,000 to try to help spread the money and not have it viewed as just going to the rich kind of thing. I think I'd prefer to see some lower price point models and maybe some good continued lease deals that the manufacturers take the brunt than necessarily the taxpayers taking the brunt.
We are seeing that on the lease front. I mean, there was some big announcements from some of the OEMs. They were saying, "Oh, we're gonna step in and do something creative to make that federal credit."
I thought they were too.
Yeah, they tried, but I think what we're really
what they need to do was sell the inventory to the leasing company by September 30th.
Right.
They tried to do the down payment.
Yeah, no,
because they probably couldn't get the two parties to agree who's going to hold the bag.
And they
but
knew
if they had sold it, there was nothing they could have done about it.
No, and they knew the deadline was coming. But this is where, again, I will give the dealers a lot of credit in the sense that when they have to get creative to move a car, they find ways. And I think in the challenge...
I'll tell you the Stellantis story.
Wait,
we
what's
always
that?
track, every year we do a State of EVs on Long Island report where we look at how many cars sold by brand, by dealership, and the like. And Tesla was always at the top. And usually number 2 was like a Toyota Prius Prime or the popular kind of cars. So 2 years ago, we look at the stats, and the number 2 dealership is a Jeep dealership. The number 3 is a Jeep. Number 4 is a Jeep. 5 is a Jeep. 7 is a Jeep. Because that year, Stellantis, to try to get around the California, or to honor the Florida mandate, were sending only the plug-in versions of the Cherokee and the Jeep to the ZEV states. And so if you went in to buy a Jeep, you had to order it. And so, a dealer, you never let them leave the showroom, right? So all those dealerships learned how to sell plug-in hybrids.
All right, there you go.
So that comes back to incentive.
Yeah.
If that's what you got to sell, they learned how to sell it. And it was a great story to sell.
And that's they can figure it out if they need to. And I think
they need to.
The reality is I think where the industry has gone in the last 5 to 10 years is we've had a lot of things that have happened to, again, springboard us to right now. I think the federal incentives going away, I think what it's going to prove is that we have to start being very practical around how we are strategizing to make this approachable, whether that's in business and in the industry talking to each other, and how we translate that to an ownership experience that people can say yes to. So, again, Expo is a great jumping off point for that. But again, it's organizations like yours that keep that momentum going throughout the year.
Right. And the bottom line is the U.S. is a laggard right now. You look at Norway, 92% sales. Even China, whose market is 3 times the size of ours, has 48%, almost 50% market sales of EVs.
They incentivize EVs like crazy. So I think we're going to see some shakeout in China, though, for how many brands they have. But to that point is again, look at all the brands we have here today that are showcasing their cars. These are global brands.
Yes.
So the American market...
they have to compete.
They have to compete. So the American market is going to be what it is, as it may be behind some of these other countries, but they have to compete.
Right.
So what are your objectives? Like, when do you think you'll have been successful in your...
Well, we're at about 85,000 EVs. My goal has been for a while now to hit 100,000 on Long Island. So that's my short-term objective.
All right. You're on
we
the
were
way.
hoping by the end of the year. The headwinds are kind of going to make it sometime next year. And then also making sure that these used EVs, the ones, the leases that come back, stay on Long Island. That's going to be key to us to continue to grow. Last year, we grew 39%. From the year before. We had 51,000 at the end of 23, 71,000 at the end of 84. That was, but original registrations were up like 27%. The state was only up 14%.
But listen, hearing the numbers you're talking about, though, that is real growth. That's not 1%, 2%. These are real growth numbers you're talking about. So I think that what we're proving out is that the foundation's been laid. It's now how we transition from a lot of the folks that were kind of, again, EV curious. They were maybe more willing to learn about a lot of different things, to go through just kind of like the muck of some of the details. But I think what we're showcasing now is that Expo has grown, the footprint has grown, the growth of the registrations in Long Island have grown. That is not evidence of this is a slowing down market. No, that means it's still moving. So to your point about, again, these milestones, 100K, get those EVs on the road. Kind of rounding that out, how do people find out information about Drive Electric Long Island, Long Island Drive Electric, where they can go and get the details of the next event, where they can contact you and again, your volunteers? How do they find info?
All of that at our website, driveelectriclongisland.org, all spelt out. And on that, we have an event calendar that has all our events coming up. We have a resources page that can point them to other links to get more information. We have an incentives page that summarizes all the available incentives. We have incentives from the utility in rebates on a level 2 charger. And we also have the opportunity for EV owners to volunteer with us. Come with us to some of our events and show off why you bought an EV and why you still love it.
And you're here right now. You have a booth here. Where's the booth located from?
We're in the show-off area.
Okay, so if you're listening to us and you're facing EVRC, check, just kind of go around the corner, and you guys are around the corner.
Yep, and stop by. We put together a list of all the cars that are available for test drive today, with a little information about its MSRP, its range, what type of vehicle it is, which is a nice way to kind of narrow down. There's over 30 cars,
it's
available.
The options here
for test drive, and that's a lot to do, and it's a little overwhelming. So come by, pick up a summary sheet from us.
Anything we haven't covered? Do you think that we hit on a lot?
We hit a lot, but Long Island is the place to be.
That's right.
And the numbers are really growing, and that's the point. So, Rosemary, for all the work you're doing, thank you so much again for coming by and saying hi. Keep up the great work throughout the year. I'm sure we'll see you again in the future at an expo. But again, for those listening, this is the EV Reality Check booth powered by GreenCars.com.